touring the grounds and discussing the history and significance of our three statues, as well as many artifacts both inside and outside of the temple. 29 left a life of comfort and security in his father's palace to pursue a realistic understanding of the human condition of pain and suffering. He went first to learn from two Hindu teachers, spiritual guides like those who tutor seekers in the Hindu scriptures. Unsatisfied with the more philosophical approach, he joined a group of ascetics, probably of the Jain movement, and subjected himself to several years of dire austerity. When that too failed, he moved on and decided to meditate under a Bodhi tree until enlightenment. Bodhi means enlightenment. This is a Bodhi tree. It can live to be 200 years old. Even today, after 2,600 years in Bodh Gaya, India, there is a descendant of the original Bodhi tree. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree for 49 days and 49 nights to become enlightened. It has a heart-shaped leaf with a teardrop. Our tree is 2 years old, and it will eventually fill the whole canopy. There will be a bell tower under its canopy to house the great bell. This is the great bell, known in Japan as the Bansho. It is used to summon monks to prayer and demarcate periods of time. Rather than containing a clapper, the Banshos are struck from the outside using either a handheld mallet or a beam suspended on rope. Our bell is made of bronze. They are typically very ornate with many raised bands and inscriptions. The earliest of these bells in Japan date to around 600 CE, although the general design is a much earlier Chinese origin. The bell's penetrating and pervasive tones carries over considerable distances, which led their use as a signal, a timekeeper, and an alarm. In addition, the sound of the bell is thought to have supernatural properties. It is believed, for example, that it can be heard in the underworld. The spiritual significance of the Bansho means they play an important role in Buddhist ceremonies and festivals. Before services on Sunday, and rings the bell. I'd like to ring it for you. This banjo is our call to service bell. It is made of 2,200 pounds of bronze, cast in Vietnam. A monk sits in this chair and rings the bell for a half hour before services on Sunday. While we're here, I would like to point out that you can read Vietnamese. Our statues were sculptured in Vietnam from white granite, shipped to China, then through the Panama Canal to Tampa, and then trucked over from Tampa. Just as a footnote, if diamond is number 10 in hardness, granite's number 9, it's the second hardest stone. Most statues throughout the world are sculptured in marble, very soft, very easy to work with. They're number 3. The Buddha you see here is Siddhartha. He was the original Buddha that became enlightened 2,600 years ago while sitting under the Bodhi tree. This statue is 35 feet tall. Now you can't get a permit to bring 250 tons over the highway, so Siddhartha had to be cut into 4 pieces. The torso was lifted from the legs from the pedestal, and the pedestal was cut in half, and then reassembled when he got here. Any place you see this Buddha in the world, he is known as the Enlightened Buddha. This is the Nirvana Buddha. Here, the Buddha is 80 years old and he's dying. And the artistic significance of this statue is when you walk up those steps, you're looking straight into the eyes of a man who is dying. He knows he's dying and he's at peace. He actually has a smile on his face. Now, his father was the prince of northern India, southern Nepal, and he was actually born in present-day Nepal. And when he died, he had been teaching for 45 years. But basically, he only taught within his father's kingdom. When he died, he had 2,500 disciples. Half of them went south. They went south through India, over to the island of Sri Lanka, up to Burma, which today we call Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos, and they formed their own school of Buddhism. In Buddhism, we call them schools, not denominations. And that school is called Theravada. They are the fundamentalist branch of the Buddhist faith. They read the same Dharma that we read, the same scriptures, and every text within this Dharma is called a sutra. They read the same one, but they interpret it like it was 2,600 years ago. And if you die as a Theravada Buddhist, you may die and be reborn for eons before you become enlightened. He is the Buddha of loving kindness and compassion. I'm a Buddhist. We stand in the temple in front of the abbot and in front of the Sangha, the congregation, and we take these five vows, and we call them precepts. No killing. These four columns basically are the gateway to the Avalokitesvara. One of them says all the way to Nirvana is Nirvana. Directly to the left of it is the same column in Vietnamese. This is a very large incense burner, and it's used to burn incense, which is a sign of impermanence. It goes from a stem to a little bit of fire to a cloud of smoke and then just dissipates. That's one sign of impermanence. It's the Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutra is a very original sutra by the Buddha on emptiness and the non-self. And it takes a little thinking, a little research, and a little study, and you begin to grasp the concept of non-self. We have two wooden plaques on our temple walls as you enter. One is to buy, and that means loving kindness and compassion. On the other side, the plaque on the other side of the temple wall, Hisa. Yeah. And that means sympathetic joy and equanimity. In Japanese, this is umpan. It is translated in English to the cloud plate. This also is used to summon the Sangha to the temple. Sometimes this is made of rock, and sometimes this is made of bronze. This is called a hongji. It is a big wooden gong in English. It is a heavy, solid board hung hung near the front of the temple, used to gather the Shangha for meditation. The translations from Chinese on the front of the board to English is birth and death is grave and pain. Transcendency will soon be here. Let each wake up to the fact, and being ever reverent, do not give yourself up to dissipation. Now on the back side of the gong is another inscription. This gong is rung by the monks and the nuns when entering the temple, and this is for the purpose of waking one up to the fact of mindfulness. Into a temple, we bow like this 3 times. And what we're doing is we're showing respect to the Buddha, respect to the Dharma, which is the Buddha's teachings, and respect to the Sangha, which is the congregation of Buddhists. On Sunday morning, we have our services. At 10 minutes to 10, the Sangha comes into the temple first, and they'll be sitting on cushions like those 2 you see right there. They'll be prearranged all over the floor. And if you have some physical reason why you can't sit lotus style like the Buddha on the floor, then you sit in the chairs. But about 80% of the people will be sitting on the floor. At 10 o'clock sharp, the nuns and the monks come over from the monastery. And they come over in a single file procession with the most senior member of Buddhism being in the lead. Now normally that senior member is a monk, but occasionally the senior member is a nun. So actually it's led by the senior member and not by gender. When they come in, we stand up and bow a show of respect. Now, I want to point out too while we're standing here that this is a Mahayana Pure Land temple with a little Zen blended in with it. And we keep our temple very plain, very simple, very austere. We keep the focus on the Buddha. If you go into a Tibetan temple, a Thai temple, or a Cambodian temple, they're very ornate, they're very beautiful. There's gold statues everywhere, there's carpets on the wall with every major life event of the Buddha woven into that carpet. So I want you to realize that just because you came in this temple, you haven't seen them all. They're all different based on their school and their country of origin. So when Tai was 6 years old, he was given to this master to become a monk. Now you can't do that in the U.S., but you could do it in Vietnam. This master raised Tai until he was 18 years old in a monastery with many monks and many students. They had approximately 100 monks and students there. So when he's 18, he must make a decision on whether or not he wants to be a monk the rest of his life or go out into the world. So Tai stayed a monk. The name of this staff is Katakuru, Katakara in Sanskrit. It means the sounding staff. This bell in Japanese is ken. It's a somewhat larger bell. It's usually found within the Buddha hall and is struck on the rim with a mallet. If there's no one to invite the bell, she has her own bell. And if there's no one to play the fish, she has her own fish. And then if the person on the fish is not quite on tempo, the head not present. And when we have a 3-day retreat, we have too many here to eat in the monastery, so we all eat in the dining hall. Our 3 days retreats are on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 2 days, Friday and Saturday, are in Vietnamese, and on Sunday we do it in English. So when we do that, we eat in the big dining hall. Oh,
We have it
thank you.
homemade. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, next to our dining hall are the restrooms. The small restroom on the right-hand side is open every day. We only open the large ones on retreats and with large capacity. Next to the bathrooms is the gift shop. Our gift shop is adjacent to the restrooms, and it is open daily from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Welcome to White Sands Gift Shop. We have many Buddhist items in here, as well as assorted gifts. And
That's so interesting. Enjoy that.
this is the front view of the dining hall. When we